Brought to you by DK Audio.
Timekeepers, The First Flight by S.J. King. Read by Dion Mason. Chapter 1. Flying Back in Time. Yasmin battled to hold the joystick straight. The wind was pushing hard, and visibility was bad. Rain lashed across the windshield as she fought to keep the plane under control. There was the runway. She could do this. Putting both hands on the joystick, she eased it away from her. The nose of the plane smoothly dipped down. The ground was coming closer, closer. She felt a gentle bump as the wheels touched down. It was a perfect landing. Smiling to herself, Yasmin took off her headset and shook out her hair. She had always wanted to fly, and now she had. Well, almost. This was just a flight simulator at an air show near her home in Karachi, Pakistan. And she hadn't really been battling the elements, but it felt like she had, and that's what counted. One day I'll do it for real, she thought to herself as she opened the flight simulator door. How did that feel? Asked her mum, as Yasmin joined her parents. Amazing, said Yasmin honestly. I could do it all day. Her dad smiled and took her hand. There are some wonderful planes here, Yasmin. You're going to love it. We've just got time to see some exhibits before the air display. There were planes on display from the whole history of human flight. They stood proudly around the hangar with big signs that told the visitors all about them. There was a British Spitfire from World War II and one of the earliest jet aeroplanes. There were biplanes with their 2 sets of wings and a great bulky bomber painted with camouflage. Yasmin ran among them, reading about their histories and imagining herself behind the controls up in the sky. She stopped at a replica of the first plane to make a powered, piloted flight, the Wright Flyer, built by Orville and Wilbur Wright in 1903. Yasmin closed her eyes and imagined how it must have felt to be the first people in the world to make a flight like that, not gliding, but real, actual flying. She suddenly felt a whirring on her wrist. She glanced down at her special Timekeepers watch. The hands had started to spin, backwards. Yasmin felt a rush of excitement. She was being called to the History Hub. Yasmin had a wonderful secret. She could travel back in time. She was one of the Timekeepers, a secret organization that kept the course of history on track. They had the best fun, traveling into the past and making sure that everything happened the way it was supposed to. But they always had to watch out for a villain called Delay, who liked messing around with history a little too much. Yasmin felt worried as well as excited as she gazed at her watch. The Timekeepers were only summoned when Delay was causing trouble. They were the only ones who could stop him. What was he up to now? She flipped up the watch face to reveal a hidden screen of buttons. Then she glanced over at her parents, who were reading the information beside an old seaplane. Time wouldn't move while she was away, so her parents wouldn't be worried, but it was good to know that they were enjoying themselves right now. Yasmin took a deep breath and touched a button on the watch. The hands spun faster. Everything around her stopped. So Yasmin felt as if she was inside a photograph. There was a whirl of rainbow colors as her feet lifted off the ground. Then everything went white. Yasmin blinked and shook her head. She was standing in a large museum, crammed from floor to ceiling with objects from throughout history. From early flint tools to modern smartphones. This was the History Hub, the Timekeepers HQ. Yasmin here, she said. She headed over to her favorite section of the museum to wait for the others. Coding has come a long way, she thought, as she gazed at the boxy computer screens and heavy keyboards on display. Cuckoo! Cuckoo! Squawked a familiar voice. Yasmin glanced up at the large clock on the wall. It had a swinging pendulum and was decorated like a gingerbread house. Just above the clock face there was a door, and out of the door peeped a little bird sitting on a comfy nest. Yasmin smiled. Hi, Tempo. Tempo ruffled her striped feathers. Cuckoo! She said again. Flashes of light began to appear all around Yasmin as the other Timekeepers arrived. Luke here, called a tall boy in a beautiful handmade poncho. Luke loved fashion. Yasmin never knew what...
Sample complete. Ready to continue?